What are you cooking today, Miss Martha? I'm making shepherd's pie. It might not be the way that you make it, but this is what I'm making today. To be a shepherd's pie, you have to have meat, vegetable, potatoes, and cheese. And I hit all those marks. For my meat, I'm using something surprising to you. I'm not using ground meat. I'm not using sirloin or steak. I'm using chicken legs. I'm going to have to rinse those off. And I have a large lasagna-sized casserole pan that I'm going to spray with non-stick spray. And I'm going to arrange the chicken in the bottom of that. Once I've done that, then I'm going to dice up. I've got large stalk of fresh celery and 3 sweet onions. I'll dice those up, and after I put a little salt and pepper on top of the chicken, I'm going to spread out my vegetables, my celery, and my onions. I'm going to make the sauce that goes on top of that next, which is going to be a large carton of low-sodium chicken stock. And you know, Miss Martha hates to peel garlic, so I've already got my garlic minced here. That's going to go into, not the whole container, like 3 tablespoons of it. That's going to go on the stove till it comes to a boil, and I'll add in my spices. I'll turn it down to simmer, and I'm going to be adding in salt, a little bit, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. I've got a ranch seasoning mix, and I've got the turkey gravy mix. So I'm going to add those in when it's on simmer until everything dissolves. I'm going to turn off the heat, and then I'll add in my tub of sour cream. I'm going to let it cool for a little bit because you don't want to pour the hot stuff to cook to start cooking your food before it goes into the casserole. So let it cool for a minute, 10 minutes or so, and then I'll spread out my gravy mixture on top of my chicken and vegetables. Then I'm going to do the potato portion. I've got sliced potatoes here. I'm going to drain the can. It's no salt added, but I'm going to drain it off the water and throw that away. I'll take the little potatoes. I'll arrange them on top of the casserole dish. I'll put a little bit of olive oil on top of that, and I'll put it in a 375-degree oven. I'll let it bake for 40 minutes. At the 30-minute mark, though, I'm going to take a peek in there, and I'm going to make sure that the potatoes aren't browning too much. If they are, I'll add a little aluminum foil to cover it up with to slow down the process and not burning it on top. I'll cook another 10 minutes till we get to the 40-minute mark or so, and then I'll pull it out, and I'll add the cheese portion of the dish, which is sharp white cheddar and Swiss. I'll sprinkle that on top of the casserole. With the foil removed, I'm not going to put the foil back on it, put it back in the oven for 10 minutes or so for the cheese to melt and get all ooey gooey inside. Now I've got my shepherd's pie. But when my husband comes home from work today, it's a rainy day, he's going to think it's delicious. It's chicken, vegetables, potatoes, cheese. It hits all the markers there, except for he loves green vegetables. So for our side, we've got broccolini, which I'll just steam on top of the stove. Dinner's ready. We won't be having a dessert because we've had so many cakes lately. My husband says, cool it on the desserts for a little while. So, you know, he said no cakes. He didn't say anything about pies. Stay tuned. Subscribe because I'm doing pies shortly. All right, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to rinse my chicken off. Get that in the pan. And I'm going to go ahead and chop up the celery. Get that in there. And then we'll pick back up when I'm making the sauce over the stove. So you got time to go have a cup of coffee. Eat some of that Valentine's candy you got left over. I'll see you in just a little bit. Thanks for watching today, though. Stay with me. Okay, we've got our chicken is rinsed. Our pan was prepped. We put the chicken in the bottom. We've diced up. We put a little salt and pepper on top. Just a little dash of salt and pepper on the chicken. We've got our diced celery, our diced onions layered on top of that. And here is our chicken stock and our minced garlic getting ready to come to a boil. So we can go ahead and we can add in our salt. We're going to add, you see, there's no salt added to this point. There's no salt in the potatoes. There were no salt potatoes. There was no salt stock. So we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt because that's a lot of chicken. There was just a little dash that was on top of them. So 1 teaspoon of salt into the gravy. I've got white pepper. It's a little milder than black pepper. This is a mild dish, if you'll notice. There's no chilies. There's no green peppers like Miss Martha loves to put in her dishes for spice instead of salt. It's just going to be a soothing, smooth dish. Just 1. And a 2nd teaspoon of white pepper. We're going to do 2 tablespoons each of the ranch seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, and then put it on 3 packs of chicken gravy. So I'm going to save time on the video and go ahead and do that and wait for that all to melt. And then we're going to add in the sour cream mixture. So I'll see you in just a minute. I blitzed mine in the Vitamix for a minute. You don't have to. I just don't like, even though it's minced, I don't want to get little hunks of garlic stuck in my teeth. So We'll add sour cream in just a minute. I gotta dry off my Vitamix. All right, and we'll add the tub of sour cream to it. Stir until that dissolves, and then let that cool down a little bit before I add it on top of the chicken mixture, because I don't want to pour the hot gravy right on top of the chicken. I want it to cook in the oven, not right here on the stove. So we'll be back in just a minute. All right, we'll go add our gravy on top of our chicken vegetables. Pour that right in. Give me a minute, move this out. We're going to top it with our potatoes. It's going to take a little while. Pause the camera, pick back up once I finish this part. All right, we're going to top, we've got the potatoes on top of it. We're going to do a little drizzle of olive oil on that, on top of the potatoes, because they have no seasoning at all. A little bit of pepper. A little bit of salt. Okay, now this is going to go in. My oven's been preheating to 375 degrees. This will go in. It will bake for 40 minutes. If at the 30-minute mark the potatoes look like they're getting crushed, I'll cover it with foil. But at the 40-minute mark, I'll take the foil back off and we'll top it with the cheddar, with the shredded cheese. Oh, the pepper got me. All right, we'll pick back up a little bit and check on the bake. It's only been 20 minutes, but let's peek in the oven. That's nice. I'm gonna leave them uncovered. Had all this free time and it's raining outside. I think I'm gonna start my next canvas while we wait for potatoes to bake, chicken. Okay, use my time wisely. I finished sketching out my next little painting I'll work on. Now it's almost time to add the cheese to the shepherd's pie. Got a little bit done on my fish painting. Time to take out the shepherd pie and add the cheese on top. Just gonna sprinkle the cheese on top. I'll save time on the video. Pick back up after it's baking. All right. Gonna put it back in the oven, melt the cheese. Okay. Whew. Shepherd pie's out the oven. How pretty that looks. I won't do the broccolini till he's probably just going to do a single serve and do it in the microwave because you'd rather have it fresh when he eats it instead of cooking it ahead of time. But you know, dishes like this, when you have a casserole dish, you go ahead and you take out servings and you can freeze extra, or you at least have 2, maybe 3 meals out of it. Full recipe and directions, ingredients, and all will be listed on Miss Martha Loves to Cook on my YouTube cooking page. Thanks for watching.